Welcome to 8-5. This is powers of products and quotients. The idea here is because of the relationship among multiplication, division, and powers, power distribution over product, powers distribute over products and quotients. So the power of a product property is the first one we're going to look at. It says for all non-zero A and B, and for all n, in parentheses, a times b, close parentheses, raised to the n is equal to a to the n times b to the n. Let's take a look at this with some numbers. My favorite number, we'll go with 2. Since I guess I don't need a different one, but it'd be better, we'll make it 3. So we'll 2 times 3, and we'll raise that to the third power. And so what they're saying is that this would equal 2 cubed times 3 cubed. And let's look what it looks at like here. So this would be 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. Well, we can remove the parentheses, and since multiplication is commutative and associative, we can make this 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3, which indeed shows us what we know we should have gotten, which is 2 cubed times 3 cubed, and that equals something. What is it? 216. So that's the power of a product property. Pretty straightforward, I think. We'll confuse it, I'm sure, later, but right now we'll think of it as being easy. And then now we have the power of a quotient property. For all non-zero A and B, they need to be B needs to be non-zero because it's in the denominator. And for all n, A over b to the n is equal to a to the n over b to the n. And again, we'll write our fraction. We'll make this 3/5 squared, and what they're telling us is that should be equal to 3 squared over 5 squared, which should be equal to 9 over 25. And indeed, in parentheses, 3/5 squared is 3/5 times 3/5, and using multiplication of fractions, 3 times 3 is 9, 5 times 5 is 25, and we get indeed that this works for the power of a quotient property. Let's run through some quick examples, and I'll let you get on with the worksheet. First one is simplify a negative 2y raised to the fourth. Well, we know from the previous work this is a negative 2y times a negative 2y times a negative 2y times a negative 2y. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, these are associative, and commutative, so I get a negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, so negative 2 to the fourth. And then for the y's, 1, 2, 3, 4, y to the fourth. This can be resolved because 2 can be simplified. So we want to find out what that would be. We know it's a negative 2 raised to the fourth power. I probably should have written it like this, just to be sure we know we need to raise that up. It's an even power, so it's going to be a positive number. So that will be 16. And y to the fourth is just y to the fourth. There's our solution. Crossed over a little bit here, but let's look at example 2. It says simplify this expression. And this one we need to break it down a little bit. I told you we'd make it more complicated, but it's easy enough for us to use the powers that we have available to us. And first thing we would do here is to apply the power of a product property to this whole thing. So here's our product, and now I'm going to write negative 4 raised to the 5th. Times x to the 3rd raised to the 5th times y raised to the 5th times z to the 4th raised to the 5th power. So I've distributed this 5th power across all of these, and now I can simplify this expression. For the first one, I can just do it. It's an odd power, so it's going to be a negative result. So I'll have a negative 4 raised to the 5th power. That's going to equal a negative 1024, and that's times, this is the power of a power, so it's 3 times 5, and that would be 15, x to the 15th. This is 1 times 5, y to the 5th, and this is 4 times 5, z to the 20th. And I have my expression, or my simplification of this problem. And then for example 3, it asks us to write 2 to the 5th raised to the 3rd power as a simple fraction. I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. So this is 2 to the 5th, 2 over 5, 2/5 raised to the 3rd power. And remember that is equal to 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5, which is 2 cubed over 5 cubed. And that's going to equal see, 2 cubed is 8, and 5 cubed is 125. So 8 125ths is my answer to example 3. That's really all I've got for this part of the lesson. You do want to make sure you've got a grip on these powers and products of quotients, how it's going to work. It's simply applying what we've learned previously to a slightly new situation, breaking it down when you have a more complicated problem, as we did in example 2, taking it a step at a time rather than trying to do the whole thing all at once is a good way of making sure you get it all right and can get to the right answer. Good luck with this. I will see you in class, and have a great day.